Hello, welcome to Soulprint Insights. Today I wanted to have a look at s- staying in perfect faith when things don't look like they're going the way you want or hoped them to. So, you can certainly look at that globally. You could look at that within all sorts of different relationship dynamics. But I want to sort of bring it home and really look at that individually and how individually we can find ways to stay strong and focused and not lose hope and trust that the universe has a plan and that the universe is working as a partner to us, not as an energy that dictates to us, but something that is working with our subconscious and the divine. So, first of all, when you are trying to create a intention, you want to be very, very clear that you don't limit the intention, that you don't put fences around it that could block an even better, result than you're hoping for. It's also important that when the result is less than they hoped for, that you recognize that there is a reason or a logic behind that. So let's start with creating an intention. You want to be really careful with the words you use. It is so much more helpful if you can pare down your intention to literally a few words and then connect those words to the emotion that you're hoping to feel when the intention is realized. Very often, when people are trying to set intentions, they get very specific. They just take it down to the most finite detail. And what that does is it handcuffs the universe from being able to bring you what you're looking for. The universe understands your heart desire. It understands the emotion you are seeking to achieve. But its imagination is so much better than ours. Its ability to look at the big picture from 30,000 feet is so much better than ours. And so you just want to be careful that you don't limit yourself. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples here. I want a relationship. I want a personal, intimate relationship with somebody. So you could explain to the universe that you want someone like Joe or Samantha, and you want that person, or you want someone just like that person. And you would like them to arrive in time for whatever significant event you put a time frame to, a wedding, whatever, right? I want to be partnered when, ... And while we're at it, I would like this person to be this, ABC. And I want this person to match my ideas and thoughts about 1, 2, 3. Well, okay, you can do that. And then you can spend a lot of time wondering how come that just didn't happen. So this is the thing. A lot of times our intentions are not realized because we get so specific. And other times they're not realized because we're not privy to the bigger picture. And people and the universe is reading our heart's desire, and it's saying, I know this is what they think they want in this moment, but really what's just down the road and around the curve is truly going to answer or fulfill the intention. So let's say you want love. Well, you can just simply picture your hand grasped to another. Just that, just the hand. Focus on that hand. And your intention is love, happiness, contentment. Allow the person who will fulfill my heart and whose heart I can fulfill, let that come forward. That's it. You don't need to say he's 6'2", and you don't need to say, she is blonde. All right. Because when it comes right down to it, what you're looking for is an emotion. It is a fulfillment. Okay. Likewise, if you are wanting more abundance. So this one really hangs up people a lot because, first of all, everybody wants to win the lottery. Okay. So, this is the thing. What is it? I mean, you have a better chance of being, I don't know, struck by lightning on the top of a mountaintop in the winter than you actually have of winning the lottery. And that's not to say that people don't win the lottery. Of course, someone wins the lottery. But really what you're looking for is not to win 10 or 20 or 30 million dollars. What you're looking for is a sense of, I have enough for my needs, and I have enough left over to share and spare. Okay? So what you're wanting to do is you're just wanting to ask the universe to bring abundance to you in whatever way is the most optimum way for the situation you are in. Okay? And abundance can come in all kinds of crazy, crazy ways. But the idea is to leave the details to your subconscious and the divine. Okay? You don't try to focus on how much you need. And most people, when they're trying to attract abundance, they also go through this litany of, because if I got that money, I could then pay off my kid's mortgage. I could then, help somebody with something, right? It becomes almost like a list of, if you give me this money, I'm promising that I'm going to be good with it. I'm going to do good things with it. And again, it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. So if you are looking for abundance, maybe it is a better idea to picture your bank book with more money in it than you need at this point. Okay? Or maybe you want to picture and focus on the feeling. Okay? So what I'm saying is you create a snapshot in your mind that represents the fulfillment of the intention. But what you then want to do is you want to connect the intention, the picture, with the emotion. Okay, so when you're looking for financial abundance, what you're really looking for is freedom from the stress and anxiety that comes when you really don't have enough, or you really don't feel that you have enough to meet the basic things that you're looking for in your life. Or maybe some of the perks that you're looking for in your life. Maybe you would like some additional abundance to come to you so you can finally take that trip to wherever, and fulfill that dream. Okay, so you need to focus on create the snapshot, and then connect with the real emotions that you are trying to create for yourself, that you are wanting to become a part of your life. So it is a matter of the emotion. What's the emotion? What is the emotion you are trying to achieve and accomplish? That should be the first step of any intention. Because when you recognize and realize the actual emotion that you're trying to achieve, it somehow makes it easier to not get caught up in the details. Now, I did not create this example, but I am going to borrow it. It came from one of Doreen Virtue's earlier books, and she used the example of when you go into a restaurant, okay, and you sit down at the table, and the waiter comes over, or the waitress, the server's the new appropriate word, comes over and says, "What would you like?" And you say, "Well, I would like, iced tea to drink, and I would like a hamburger. I want this hamburger." Okay? And the waiter goes away, and you sit at the table, and you sit at the table in complete faith that your hamburger and your iced tea are going to arrive at your table, and that your intention or expectation is that you're going to enjoy them. Or maybe you're going to just not feel hungry anymore, whatever it is. But what you don't do is follow the waiter or the server to the beverage area and watch him, get your iced tea ready. And then you don't follow the server and go into the kitchen and stand over the cook or the chef and explain to them exactly how you want this thing cooked with exactly what condiments you want. You are sitting at your table trusting that what you have asked for is going to come to you, and it's going to be fulfilling in whatever way. It's a brilliant example of what you're not supposed to do and what we end up doing when we are trying to set an intention. It's like, I want this, and now let me tell you exactly how I want it to show up, and let me tell you the timing I want, and let me tell you what I'm going to do when it shows up. The universe, honestly, it doesn't care. It doesn't care. You have to remember, always remember, that it's all about energy. The most powerful energy is your emotional energy. And beyond that, it's simply the energy of the world, the surroundings, yourself. So when you leave things a little bit more wide open, you then are able to receive what you're looking for in a more fluid way, often in a more timely way, because the universe is able to give you what you're looking for because it doesn't have all of these preset conditions attached to the manifestation, attached to the intention. So the trick is then, once you figure out that, and you sort of create the snapshot and you connect to the emotions and you release it and you let it go and you trust. And you know what? That's really easy to do for a couple of days or maybe even a week or two. But at some point, you start looking around going, well, it hasn't happened yet. So obviously it didn't work, or I'm not supposed to get that, or I don't deserve that. And you start doubting your own ability to manifest your intentions. And that doubt is an emotion. And so now what you have is you have the two emotions of doubt and desire, okay, in absolute conflict with each other, because you, with the intention, somewhere along the way created some sort of a schedule, some sort of a timeline. And as things don't start just manifesting the way you want, it sort of throws you off, right? And you will get, in almost every case, you will get insights or guidance. And sometimes it's spiritual, sometimes it's angelic, sometimes it's a best friend saying, listen, I just saw this article about whatever, and I'm sure that this applies to you, or I'm sure you would be really interested in that. But one way or the other, we receive messages that help us move along the path that will bring us to the fulfillment of the intention, and you have then manifested it. Staying in perfect faith is incredibly important, and it can be difficult. And so there are tricks that you can use to help you stay focused. So you can, this is one of my favorites, you can picture a stop sign. And when you start spiraling down that rabbit hole of, I don't deserve it, why didn't I get it, what's going on here, you just say stop. Just stop. Picture that stop sign and say the word stop. And you redirect your attention to the intention, okay? You can, there are some things that you can do. You can light a candle and say sort of a prayer and repeat the intention. But you want to be careful that you don't clutch the intention too hard, because then it's like following the waiter into the kitchen. I gotta stop saying waiter. That's not letting go, right? Letting go is sitting in that perfect faith and trust, and trusting enough to follow the steps or the directions or the guidance that you are being given. So I'm going to use this as my example to wrap things up. As most of you know, I put my house up for sale a couple of months ago. And I knew sort of in the summertime that this was something I was going to do, that by, April, I wanted to be moved and resettled. And I received incredibly clear direction to not list this house until January. And I can see you going, she did that way before January. I remember that. It was months ago. So what happened was I found this property and I really, really liked it. And that was in November. And despite the fact that I knew and had been told, don't list the house until January, I went ahead, and it was stressful. It was so stressful getting this house ready to list, because it was sort of like it came rushing at us way faster than we were prepared to react. But, as it turned out, I never even ended up making an offer on the property that prompted me to list the house earlier than I was told. And for 2 months, this house had viewing after viewing, or showings, I guess they're called, the remarks were always, it shows beautifully. I really like it. It's in the top 2 or 3, and nothing. And I was forced at some point to just simply say, I can't direct this anymore. So do what needs to be done. Just let it go. Just stand in trust and faith, Cyndy, that the house is going to sell. And so January rolled around, and I am not kidding, people. There were so many viewings of this house. It was like the front door was revolving, and there were days that we had 2 and 3 showings stacked up. And that happened, right? And meanwhile, I'm again tested, and I'm now standing in faith that despite all of these showings, there really is going to be one that manifests into a sale. And when did that happen? That happened at the beginning of February. If I had listened, I wouldn't have listed the house until the end of December, the beginning of January. The house would have been on the market for a very short period of time. And this is sort of what I'm talking about. If you think about, I'm going to stick with the whole buying a house thing. If you think about your home, your neighborhood, especially those who have been in an area for a long time, and they raised their kids in an area, and those kids, the neighbor kids grew up together, and there were friendships developed, and there was relationships. Well, that wouldn't have happened had you bought a house 4 blocks over, right? So it is not just a matter of me saying I want to sell the house. It was also a matter of the right person, the person who needed to come into this house, who needed to come into this area, being ready. And they were not ready in November, and they were not ready in December. By the end of January, they were now ready. And so that's why it happened that way. And I'm using that as an example simply because, you might mistakenly look at me and think, well, she's just got this all figured out. No. I'm as human as everybody else. And these are sort of the crazy pitfalls that we fall into. And so, okay, so now my house is sold, and I again have to stand in perfect faith that the right property that is going to tick off all the boxes is available to me, and it will come to me, and I will become aware of it. That is the trick. That is the challenge. And when it comes to manifesting your intentions, that is simply the way it is done. So you set an intention. You create a snapshot, and you connect to the emotion. And then you let it go, but you continue to feed it. So that may be by having a ritual that, I light this candle for the intention of this. It might be that you say a specific prayer. But what you don't do is become obsessed with it. You have to let it go enough so that it can come to you in the right way and at the right time. So I'm reminded, of course, most of you will know the Garth Brooks song called, Unanswered Prayers, right? And I thank God for unanswered prayers. Because always remember, the universe has a way better imagination than any of us. And they have clearer vision, and they see more. And so, when you are wanting to manifest an intention, create it, release it, and simply stand in trust and faith that that intention, one way or another, will be made manifest if it is indeed part of what your soul wants to accomplish and learn and understand in the given life experience you are having. So, I think that's it. Thank you so much for being here and joining the Soulprint community. I really, really appreciate it. I hope this has been helpful. Manifesting is a hard thing to do. I mean, it is. It's it's not that easy. And I often say, I'm just going to wrap it up this way. I often say, if you're wanting to practice your manifestation skills, you start with really simple things, like I'm driving to the mall and I set the intention that I am going to find a really good parking spot. Just where my car's going to be safe and it's not too far a walk, but you just need that parking spot. Well, by the time you get to the mall, there's your parking spot. When you were setting the intention, you were not seeing the parking lot and saying, okay, my car needs to be in the third row, 5 cars down, or I'm not going to be happy. You're just saying, get me a great parking spot. Okay? And so practice on all kinds of little stuff like that. And as that grows and you become more and more confident in your ability to do that, it makes the bigger stuff so much easier because you recognize that you actually have sort of mastered, if you will, the skill set needed. Okay, so my intention for every one of you is that you enjoy this video, that you get some wisdom or insight from it, and perhaps you will like it, or you will comment, or you will share it. But the highest intention is that you take from it whatever it is you need in this moment. Until next time, stand in your power and stand in your light. Bye-bye.